for sure in the list, and it's not a new name. And it's Konsa at Aston Villa. He's a defender really appreciated by Arsenal, and he remains a name they're having a negotiation for, on club side and on player side. So for Konsa, Arsenal are in the mix. We will see what's going to happen there.
Ben Jacobs, the journalist, also Sammy Mokbel of the BBC, that Arsenal have reopened fresh talks to try and sign Ezri Konsa. Their original offer that they put in for Konsa was around about £30 million. That was turned down by Aston Villa. They said, no, we're looking for more money. They want around about £60 million. Can some sort of compromise be reached and Arsenal get their man? Ezri Konsa not even back in training yet. Again, that's what I'm saying about this window. It's really, really weird window. He's just back from his holidays. But we know that Arsenal are looking for a centre-back. And could that centre-back be Ezri Konsa? He is very high up on Arsenal's list and they would like to sign him.
Timber's out missing for the next few weeks as well. We know Arsenal do maintain an interest. It's been a long-standing interest this summer in Ezri Konsa, but we know there's a significant gap in valuation between what Arsenal are willing to pay, which we think is around £30 million, and what Aston Villa want for him, which is around £60 million, bearing in mind some of the senior figures that have left that club this summer. Ezri Konsa, we reported that exclusively on Friday, that Arsenal had held talks with Bayer Leverkusen around the signing of Ezri Konsa, who's a slightly younger profile, 23 years of age, compared to Konsa, who turns 29 in November. It's our understanding that Bayer Leverkusen do not currently consider Ezri Konsa for sale, but the fact is Mikel Arteta says they want to strengthen in this transfer window. When everyone's fit, there's going to be a massive stockpile of centre-backs and right-backs and left-backs.
But isn't that the point? Why would those two go there knowing that when everyone's fit, they're not going to play?
So, in terms of a right-sided centre-back, it means that they can play there, but also they can play at right-back as well, because Ben White has had his injury issues, so has Jurrien Timber as well. And you'd think the profile of those players, the experience those players have built up, that they'd argue that they could rival both Ben White and Jurrien Timber for that right-back spot. So it makes sense Arsenal signing versatile players. I think if you look at their squad depth and you look at all the options they have at centre-back, all those players can play in every position across the back line, or at least in two positions, apart from Gabriel. But you're not going to dislodge him. He's the best defender in the Premier League right now. So it would make a lot of sense in terms of signing a player who can play in multiple positions. I still think they've got a number of options in that defence. I think they've got the best squad in the Premier League right now. But I think it does show there are probably real concerns around how long William Saliba is missing for. If it was just a few weeks, you'd think they'd get by with the options they have. But clearly, he's going to be missing a few months, it seems.
Miles Lewis-Skelly, talk of him leaving. Surely not.
It doesn't look like that way right now when you consider the way he celebrated his goal in midweek in the last warm-up game they had, and then the assist he laid on for Calafiori in the first 30 seconds yesterday was incredible. It showed incredible vision. He's a player in his first season in the Premier League as a teenager, played on the left-hand side. He played left back for the whole season. Last season wasn't featuring heavily, but then in the back end of the last campaign, when Arsenal were looking to secure that title, it was he rather than Martin Zubimendi who played alongside Declan Rice. I think if Arsenal want to seriously strengthen in this transfer window and go after a big target like Julian Alvarez or even Bradley Barkley, who they hold interest in, then perhaps there may have to be a major sale to be able to do that and also sign another centre-back or right-back. But I think they'd really envy letting go of Miles Lewis-Skelly. The only benefit of selling a player like Miles Lewis-Skelly for big money would be it's pure profit. He's an academy graduate. Yeah. But I think they'd prefer to sell other players in that team, and Miles Lewis-Skelly would be low down that pecking order. The only thing is, Mikel Arteta has been asked about this a number of times. He's never said the player's not for sale. He's never gone out and said that, which he could easily have done. And while Arsenal aren't publicly stating he's not for sale, there will be speculation. But I think you can consider him a massive part of Mikel Arteta's first-team plans, bearing in mind what we've seen over the course of the last few weeks.
Can you see anybody stopping Arsenal this season?
No.
Why are Arsenal fans so pessimistic then?
I don't know. I don't know many of them. No, I know a lot of them. No, look. I think you look at it yesterday. Mikel Arteta said about he felt terrible that he couldn't give a place to Martinelli and Gabriel Jesus, Ethan Nwaneri. That just tells you just how strong Arsenal are looking. Should we have a look? Yeah, why not? I mean, look at the Solis who they've signed. You know, what a start he's made. You know, that's not a bad start to your left-sided forward, is it? So, you know, Martinelli might be leaving. We know they want potentially another left-sided forward. Gabriel Jesus, who I've just mentioned. You know, Kai Havertz has done ever so well, hasn't he, over the last few years for Mikel Arteta. Victor Gyökeres, you know, will he be stronger in the second season? Saka and Madueke, don't need to say anything about them. That midfield, you bring Bruno in there. I saw a picture of Bruno and next to Declan Rice earlier with them Community Shield medals. You know, that is formidable. That is a formidable two in that midfield. And the defence, you know, we were saying in the transfer show at 4 o'clock about being potentially a bit light. I don't know. You know, if they do bring in another defender, I think they look incredibly stocked. And Calafiore, Hincapié was a great signing last year. And what he does so well, Mikel Arteta, every defender can play in a couple of positions, you know. So David Raya has been one of the best